Hi guys! In this section we will cover another two principles of animation, which are overlapping action and follow-through as one of them, and arcs as another. The overlapping action principle means that everything doesn't happen at the same time. In animation, things move in parts. Usually we have one part which is the leading one, so it starts moving first, and other parts follow. Here we see a simplified example of this principle. Even though the cube doesn't have separate body parts, I've animated it in a cartoony way as if the cube is not rigid. So its bottom is acting as a leading part of the body, and the top as the following one. As the cube starts to move, its top part falls behind. That is sometimes also called a drag. When it reaches its destination, the top part is still left behind a few frames. Then it arrives late and keeps on going further before settling down. And that is called a follow-through. So basically, a drag and follow-through are part of overlapping action, and they both mean that parts of the body move at different times, except the drag happens at the beginning of the action when the body parts follow the main action, and the follow-through at the end of it, when the character comes to a stop, but the separate body parts of the body continue to move. Overlapping action is an extremely important principle which makes our animation look organic, loose, and believable. One of the most common ways to illustrate this principle is with the waving blade of grass. Here we can see how things move and change direction at different times. The base is the leading force of action. So, as it is moving left and right, the tip of the grass is left behind a few frames and moves at a different rate. On the first frame, we have a pose when the grass blade reached its position on the left, and now will change direction and start going to the right. So as the bottom of the weed is going from left to right, the tip of the grass is still going from right to left. So it follows through, then it breaks and starts to move in the same direction as the base, only it is left behind and drags. When the bottom reaches its destination on the right, the opposite happens. The tip continues going further to the right as the base is already going to the left. Another case of overlapping action can be seen in an arm swing. Here, the overlapping action occurs because of the successive breaking of the joints. The shoulder moves first, then the arm and the elbow. Finally, the hand lags behind a few frames. This successive breaking or bending of the joints is what gives flexibility to our animated characters. This method also lets us create nice arcs. Arcs is another important principle of animation. In real life, most things move in arcing motions. It's unnatural for a live being to move in a straight line. So if your animation follows a straight line, it will look mechanical, stiff. Usually the path of action should be either a wave-like arc or a sort of a figure eight. Here I've ghosted the top control of the hand to track its motion, and you can see that the tip of this hand creates a shape reminiscent of a figure eight. That's what gives this animation a continuous flow and smooth and realistic movement. In the next lesson, we'll try to animate the waving blade of grass ourselves, and we'll also check what type of arc it is creating.